The cradle. I had a long conversation with my mom just a couple weeks ago, which I've never had before. It's talking about the part of my life that I have no memory of, which I believe every one of us could relate, because when you're born into the world, you literally have no control of memories. But as you grow, when you start to walk, when you start to crawl, and you start to talk, that is when new memories are created that you can remember. And prior to that, you can't tell me that you could remember the first face you saw as a baby when you came out of your mother's womb. So this first episode is a product of my discussion with Mom. I call it the cradle. No. The adult that we see today, it's by far connected to the things we were exposed to when we were babies. 1988, November 6th, Mommy told me that I arrived about 5 a.m. So when she mentioned 5 a.m., I was like, so I had to arrive early, just in time to get to church. Now let's talk about the place I grew up. The me that we see today, which is a combination of the me when I was in my 20s, the me when I was in my teenage days, the me when I was under 10. It's to a great extent connected to the place I grew up, the church I grew up in, the school I went to, the people who were my friends. So I grew up in a community. It's like one big compound, precisely in the heart of the city of Rio, 139 Oron Road. And it was a big compound, large compound with 1, 2, 3, 4, I think 5 different blocks, different buildings adjacent to each other, and each block, the block that I was born in, had about 6 or 7 different families living next door, that kind of building. I wish I had pictures to show you, So this is your door to your house, and next door, different family, and each is divided by a wall. So you can literally hear what's happening in the next. When everybody comes out, everyone is one, Kids coming outside to play. Trust me, it was fun. And I remember early mornings, Mom or Dad would wake us up for morning devotions. One time we don't look forward to it because you still have a sleep. Oh, who does that? 5 a.m. Some days 4:30 a.m. you wake you up, it's time for morning devotion. Because after that, my elder brothers, they would have to go out to sell stuff, go out hawking and come back in time to prepare for school. And then we would share the house chores. One would sweep the house, the other would wash the dishes, the other would sweep outside, and the other would... I have 3 brothers. My mom had 4 of us. And then I think while Mom would be preparing the food, and somebody has to prepare Dad's police uniform. If you know the police uniform, back then, I'm not sure about now, the buttons, everything is removable. You have to put the buttons and all of that. So all of this would mold us. And then in that same community, we have shared bathrooms and shared toilet and all kind of things. So you have to line up for adults, by the way, because the children have to bathe outside. I'm not sure about your cultures over here in St. Vincent, but as kids, you're happy when it's raining because you have a chance to bathe outside. Then I remember the culture of having to greet everybody in the morning, especially anyone who is older than you. It's a taboo if you walk past an adult and don't greet them. Scream. And in my language, Ibibio, you would hear a messiere, and you respond a messiere in there. And all of this started to build the culture in us as not an average, but as a typical Nigerian kid growing up, his mothers. And then it's time to get ready for school. The fun part, something I remember is when you finish putting on your uniform, you have to now start looking for your shoes. Ooh, that I will never forget. You look for your shoes wherever you threw your shoes, under the bed, and then by the time you don't find the shoes, the uniform is dirty all over again. So I attended a prep school. I can't remember what age, and it was called Kiddies International Nursery School. Going back to the morning hours, I remember there is that feeling in the morning when morning radio is on. Almost every house is playing different radio stations, and you're hearing the morning rhythm. And my dad he would never miss the 7 a.m. network news. And then there would be the local radio stations that would be giving the announcement and that serene feeling, you're hearing the cock crows and everybody's busy getting ready for work and school, and it's just stuff that when I sit back today as a 35-year-old and I look back and I'm like, my childhood was really fun. So another game that we would play as kids was skipping ropes. Oh, man. I hate skipping ropes. I just can't get to jump in on time. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's like the people who are people on the rope don't want to get in it. And you're timing it, and you jump in, you're dead. Like, skipping rope was fun. And then there is one very folk game that till today I still yearn to play it again. We call it Nsai Song. It's a game where you have to dig some circular holes in the ground, I think 6 parallel to each other, and then you have the Nsai, so we call it, we just call it in English. If I have a Pueblo mate on this, you could always help me out. So you have to now pick a bunch of it and keep placing one in each of the holes, and it goes around. I don't remember any of that, but I always look forward to playing. Thinking about all of these things today, I'm so far from home in a faraway country, by the way, in one of the most beautiful islands in the Caribbean, in the world, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I hope that by next episode, I would share more of my life from after the cradle to when I was 10 and 11 and stuff I had gone through, that has built to a great extent who I am today. And that is why this documentary is called Being Us.